Hey, it's uh it's Rastafarian Jesus. No, hey, what's going on, man? That's Jesus on my shoulder right there. Listen, I'm up late and I might as well brought podcasts. I was wearing I like camouflage military clothing just because, I'm a big fan of like Lost Boys and the Frog Brothers. And they were and just because military clothing is so durable. Like, this shit, look at this. It's so tough, this vest. It's got pockets all over it. And, but I was standing in line, and this guy behind me is like, he's like, did you serve? And I was like, huh? And he's like, did you serve? Like, he meant in the military. And I was like, oh, no, man. I was like, I just really like military clothing. And, my, and, I was like, I have a bunch of veterans in my family, though, that have served. I said, but, by the time the 80s came around with all the feminism, and I knew they were like lying to me pretty much about everything. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I wasn't fully convinced. I saw the whole. I lived through the whole Iran Contra scandal where the Bush family and uh, I've had a few drinks tonight, so where the Bush family and the Clintons got caught bringing drugs into Mena, Arkansas, and all that. So I was like, yeah, I'm not fully convinced. So I didn't say all that, but I just said when the 80s came along, I said to the guy, I wasn't fully convinced that this government was all that legit. And so I was like, I'm not, I said, if a foreign enemy is in my backyard, you bet I'm going to fight, but I'm not going to fly overseas to machine gun people for a college degree. I said that right to the guy, and he goes, no, he goes, I know what you mean, man. He goes, my brother was in, he's like, a lot of the guys in my family were in the military too. He goes, but I thought the same thing. He's like, yeah, I don't want to fly. I don't want to go overseas and kill anybody. I have to agree with him, well, not if your country is like bankrupt and communist and feminist and breaking all the laws of basically if your country is doing everything everybody else is doing. They've devalued our dollar to the point where the whole world depends on our dollar. They've devalued it to the point where people living in other countries, can't even afford to feed themselves and shit and buy. It's incredible. So, but my point being is, I should bring my veteran father on this. I should have my father, see if my dad wants to podcast with me, who was in Vietnam. Be like, Dad, how do you feel about the fact that, your son, it took your son 12 years to find somebody who gave one shit about your grandkids and that you've never met your grandkids before because your son didn't have $5,000 for lawyers, and the laws were all slanted for women, so the mother got automatic custody and abused them, and just you don't know who your grandkids are and they've been abused. And what do you think about that? I want to say it, bring my father on and talk about that. My father would just be like, "Oh man, I'm telling you, man." But I went out and I picked up my friend tonight, and I'm eating potato salad, man. I love potato salad. It's good stuff. Grabbing some munchies. Uh, this country just doesn't care about veterans. This country, really, my father's legacy is broken. I mean, peanut butter cups. My father's legacy is broken. And there's foreigners starting legacies on his son's back. So he sees me pay work. He's basically, he reads the papers where guys like me have to take white privilege classes now in college. They have white privilege classes. Let me see, white privilege classes. Checking your white privilege at the door. So you have to imagine that my father didn't know that when my father trusted my future with the public schools and the colleges. You know, he didn't know. I tried to tell this to him, but it wasn't headline news. Now it's headline news. This is what I talk about. I was like, no, white people are hated, and I'm a white male, so I'm not really allowed. If I offend somebody on campus, like if I say something wrong, some liberal girl will go, or just be like, who the fuck do you think you are? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and and as soon as that happens, as once that happens, and then one girl falsely accused me, and then another girl falsely accused my nephew. So check this out. Like, I'm just saying, like, I tried to tell my father this, that that American women now hate men. They're taught to absolutely hate males, especially white males. And my mother and my father didn't believe me. My poor veteran father did not believe me. Him and my mother got really, really mad at me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what this society has done to my father, who fought in the military for this country? My father got really mad at me, but now they're so bold, it's headline news. So my father can't be mad at me anymore, people. My veteran father can't be mad. He knows the whole time he was threatening me with police, and him and my mother wanted to kick me out of the house when I was saying I hate, this country's fucked up and whatever, and da 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 da, and they're putting women over men. They would be like, Stuart, you're just making excuses, and they would threaten me with police. they got the colleges and the schools were successful at getting my parents to threaten me with police for talking about SJWs back in the 90s before it was headline news. Now it's headline news. So now people can't debate me anymore. You know, class by class, lecture by lecture, question asked by question, answered, and education is built. This is one of a series of visits to a class on one day, you know, in search of those building blocks at BU. So this is a university, you know, you can look it up, man. There's like understanding white privilege. White racism is becoming a popular university. Let me find some New York Public College offering course called Abolition of Whiteness. They don't want they're gonna, no matter what I look up, it's gonna have some
doodlers powered by,
it's gonna have some they'll put it in all these different, like you got, you know, okay, abolition. So now that, you know, I gotta look up abolition. Sounds like abolish. The action or an act to abolish a system, practice, or institution. So a public college in New York City is offering an undergraduate class called the Abolition or Abolishing of Whiteness, adding to what critics say is a growing number of courses aimed at the study of whiteness. At college, see, this wasn't being public. What is this, 2017? You know, I mean, you can search around. This isn't a big secret. This is supposedly what Comicsgate is all about. So, you know, but it's on the college campus. So I'm going to get into both me and my nephew having false allegations made at us. Wow. Yeah, June right there. June 1st, 2017. So you can't find any articles like this back in the 1990s when I was going to college. I was trying to go to college. But, you know, I'm a pretty astute and you know, and quick learning individual. You know, I'm a pretty astute individual. I catch on quick. I learn fast. And I was like, well, what's different than me? Because I noticed I noticed hostility towards me in the public schools and on the campuses. And I eventually was like, well, what's different about me that is causing all this hostility? Because I'm not disrespectful, and I'm not a druggie, and I don't rob people, and I'm not a criminal, and my father's a veteran, and he raised me. My father's worried that he raised me wrong when my father raised me correctly. And so a lot of other men, like my mother said, who didn't have fathers that have been in warfare, that didn't raise their kids properly. My mother and father raised me properly. So what's different about me? And then I said, well, the only thing that there is apparent about me besides my views, if you look at me, is that I am a white male. And if you look at my clothing, I appear poor. I appear to not have money to defend myself in court. I appear to not have money to back, to have any kind of backing or connections. I don't have nice cars. I don't have, you know what I mean? I can't, I don't have enough, I'm in a town where nobody knows me and I'm going to college and nobody gives a fuck that I'm going to college. So finding a job that is going to even work around a college schedule back in the 90s when the minimum wage was like $5 an hour, finding, and I had to live in a poor section. So, and I wasn't a druggie, and by then, by the 90s, there was druggies everywhere. So you live in a poor section of town. Nobody's trying to, by then, most dudes aren't even trying to even go to college. They're just a bunch of fucking, white males in this country just fucked. So I live in poor white trash communities with white people that don't give a shit about nothing but drugs and welfare and food stamps. And I want to be a comic artist and go to college. Oh, that's fantastic. Hey, man, you got $5? You know what I mean? Like this country, man. So no food stamps for me. I couldn't even. Jobs don't care if they're trying to make money. They don't care if you're going to college and you're not a female. So nobody really cares. You're just a dude, a white guy. You're privileged, as this is about your whiteness, the abolition of whiteness. You're a white person, so you're being wiped out. And it's incredible. So, so imagine me back in the 90s. And I'm like, no, pretty much the only thing that I can think of that's really apparent about me, besides my kind of, the fact that I question everything, and I'm looking for, I'm a non-materialistically, non-sexually driven, logical, rational male. Besides that, is that I'm white. I'm a white guy, and I'm pro-America. So all I can say is that's not popular anymore. And my parents were like, "What?" My parents are like, "What the fuck are you talking about, man? What do you mean it's not popular to be fucking pro?" My parents were like, I might as well have told my parents that I got I failed college because I got abducted by aliens and I woke up on Mars, and there's all this missing time, and they let me back off the UFO and college was over, and none of my homework was done. And you understand what I'm saying? I might as well have said that. My parents were like, "What the fuck are you talking about? They don't like white people on white males on college campuses." And so they were like, if you don't shut up, we're going to call the police on you. So now that it's 2017, so within about the past 3 or 4 or 5 years that it's coming out that, we want to get rid of white people on Fox News here and stuff, And now my parents understand. So they don't threaten to call the police on me anymore, They don't threaten to call the police on me. My own parents don't threaten. Isn't that fantastic, people? I'm finally at 48 years old, I'm not threatened with police. My mother and father don't threaten me with police anymore when I say, no, the colleges hate white males. My mother goes, no, my son's right. No. And especially you read these articles where high school kids are getting sent home for wearing American flag t-shirts and all this stuff. So how, you know what I mean? I'm telling you, man. And it's just incredible. It's incredible. So I should, and my father, he don't even want to talk about it. My father, man, he don't even want to talk about it. He would just be like, well, I don't know, I don't know, Stuart, because man, I'll tell you, man. But he ain't gonna get mad at me about it. My father's not gonna get mad. A lot of the veterans are the first people to tell you to shut the fuck up too. I'll tell you. I had a friend not a friend. I had an acquaintance from high school that I was trying to be friends with after high school, because as soon as I got kicked around, as soon as I realized what was really going on, and I started talking about it openly, now it's normal. Now people in Comicsgate, it's normal for you to talk about it. But I was getting police threatened on me. I'll get to the false allegations too. So let me talk about the false allegations first. So I finally was getting very close to getting my bachelor's degree at anybody can look this up. I guess it should be public information. I was at the Art Institute of Phoenix for multimedia and animations, which is pretty much everything except for programming video games. But anyway, so basically about 2 semesters from getting my degree, this is in about 2003, 2004. I'm like 2 semesters from getting my bachelor's degree. Finally, I'm like, thank God, thank you, God, man, this is gonna pay off. I'm gonna get a good job. I'm gonna do rad art. I'm gonna make video games. This so-called Christian girl, man, Michelle, you know who you are, Michelle. You know who you are. She comes crying to me. She's like a friend of an ex-girl that I just, I had a breakup with. Never go out with girls in your college, boy, I'll tell you, But I dated this girl in my college. It didn't work out. It didn't get stupid, but it got a little bit, I said some mean shit about her on campus. And because she snubbed me and gave me a shitty attitude. Or once again, she was like, I don't know, you don't know. She tried to everything I say, second guessing me like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I got upset with her and was like, I was like, fuck off, shut up, and we broke up. But then later, about a year later, or 6 months later, a year later, because I was there for 3 years, her friend comes up to me, and she's like, I really need a roommate. My roommate moved out. Blah, blah. I'll make this short. Long story short, she called my parents crying on like Christmas. I was like home. They're like, some girl, Michelle, called crying, like begging us to get you to move in with her. And I was like, well, I don't, and I'd already been screwed over by girls. And I was like, I don't know, man. And she was a Christian though, and I'm a Christian. I was like, I don't want to not help a fellow Christian. So I was like, all right. So I said yes, right? So by the time I get back from Christmas vacation, she had already like moved my shit. Like I was like, did you like move all my stuff in your apartment already? She's like, yeah, I didn't think you would mind. I was like, I guess not. No, it's cool. So I moved in with her. Okay, long story short, I'm not even gonna get into it. I bailed her out, paid a bunch of bills, next thing you know, her father comes over. Her father's like 7 feet tall. He's a monster. He's like the kind of dude that has to duck through doorways, and he's a Vietnam veteran, like my dad. So what do you know? We start hitting it off. She starts bitching at me over a tablespoon of mayonnaise. And he looks at her, her father, this 7 foot tall giant, and he's all like, Michelle, you finally got a cool roommate, and I like him. And he goes, and you're bitching at him over nothing, and you're gonna drive him away, and you know what I mean? And he's like, oh, and he goes, and if you don't shut up, he goes, I'm gonna leave right now. And she's like, well, and he goes, all right, that's it. And this monster, I'm glad he was on my side. Let me tell you right now, because this 7-foot tall, like special forces Vietnam vet just like stood up and was like, all right, whatever. And he walked out of the house. He literally took my side against his own daughter and walked out of the house. And she never came back. And she started trying to beat the shit out of me. And coming home drunk, mad at me that her father took my side and started trying to punch me and kick me and smack me and pull my hair and push it, slamming, trying to slam me up against the wall, like ripping my shirt, grabbing me by my collar and like slamming me against the wall and stuff. She was a big girl. She weighed about, I would say, 200 pounds maybe. Irish girl too, big Irish so-called Christian girl. And so I was like, all right, well, I already know where this goes. Everybody believes women. So I had the bright idea of, my great grandmother passed away and left me, like a small amount of money, like, I don't know, $1,000. So I bought a video camera, and it was for animation and multimedia, because there were classes where I had to film commercials and stuff like that. So I was like, I had the bright idea. Well, if I film her doing this, then everyone will believe me, and I'll be the hero, and I can I can get out of this and get my degree and get the hell out of here. So I set up a camera, and she comes home, and, I'm like, hey, keep your hands off me. I know you've been drinking, whatever, please, don't be attacking me or whatever. And she was like, shut the fuck up. And she just like came at me and started doing the same thing all on camera. I caught her just punching me, kicking me, just trying to elbow me, everything, trying to knee me in my balls, just going a big, like 200-pound girl going spastic, and I'm just blocking and putting my knees up so she can't knee my balls, and my arms up and whatever, and not even fighting back. And then she gets done, and I'm like, all right, I got her on camera now. So I'm like, I'm not gonna put up with this shit anymore. So she comes at me, and I put my hand out on her my face. I put my hand like straight out and like kind of just face stiff armed, like face blocked her, and kind of put my hand on her face and just pushed her right down into the ground. And I said, keep your hands off me. And then she stood up and tried to come at me again. And she had like glasses, and I like knocked her glasses off her face. And I wasn't punching her or slapping her, but I was stiff arming her. I put my hand directly I knocked her glasses off, and then I put my hand directly on the side of this girl's head. And like, again, I stiff armed her like right down into the carpet again. And then I stood back, straight stood up and was like, Michelle, I was like, keep your hands off me. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I was trying to let her know, like, I'm going to fucking defend myself against you on camera here, basically, in a minute. So you're not going to believe this, man. So she goes, I'm calling the cops. And I'm like, what do you mean you're calling the cops? And I was like, you're basically beating the shit out of me. And I've never done, and you know what I mean? And I'm not even fighting back. And she goes, I don't care. She goes, I'm going to lie and say you're a psycho. This is what she said to me on camera. I caught this on camera, by the way. If you're not listening, if you're just joining in, I filmed this all on camera. She goes, I'm going to tell him you're a psycho. I told this on my men's rights channel. This is a real story. And I go, Michelle, what have I ever done to you? And she goes, I don't know. She goes, I just know you're a bad person. And she runs off, and I'm like, what the? I didn't say this. I'm like thinking, like, what the fuck, man? I'm telling you, this country is fucking crazy. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So, the police come, and the police in Arizona, Phoenix, you know, it's like an episode of Cops. They're looking at me like they want to fucking rough, you know. She told them that I punched her. She told them that she didn't know I filmed this yet, by the way. So she told the police that I punched her in her face. And so the cops split us up, and the cop looks at me and he's like, so, you know, she's saying that you punched her in the face, you know, like looking at me like he wants to hit me, this cop. And I'm like, yeah, well, I got it all on video actually. And I have it. She's been attacking the fuck out of me. And, you know, I didn't say it in those words. I go, I have her on video attacking me, and I'm not even fighting back. She's punching me, kicking me, you know, trying to knee me in the balls, pull my hair, ripping, you know, slamming me against the wall. And I have it all on video. And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah. So the other cop comes back from her, because they split you up, and he's the one that, or, you know, he's the one that she told that, or he told he's heard her whole side of the story, and he came over looking at me like, really, this is like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy, like an Aryan looking guy, you know what I mean? And he was like, he was really eyeing me, like, you know, like he wanted to kick my ass. And his partner was like, hey, and he took the cop that she talked to aside and told him I had it all on video. And the whole attitude changed. But it doesn't have a good ending. She still won. She still won, and I'll tell you how. Because she got a pussy pass. So they come back to me, and they're like, they're like, and they're basically like, what did they say? They're like, listen, man, we're about to arrest both of you. That's what he said to me. That's what they said to me. The police came back to me. They go, we're about to arrest both of you. And I said, I looked the police in the eye and I said, good. I said, I want to see. I want to see. I was like, good. I want to get in the cruiser with her and witness her go through every single thing down at the police station that she was about to put me through, because I don't give a fuck. You know, I'm not afraid of jail. You know what I mean? I'm not. You know, if I have to, I can whoop somebody's ass. So, so the police just looked at me like I was fucking crazy. They're like, they're like, dude, man, they finally they talk to each other, and they're like, dude, man, can you just please leave? And I was like, all right. So even though I was the one who was right, I basically had to leave my own. I had to leave, you know, it was her apartment originally, but I had to leave my apartment. She got to stay there. Then, you know, I thought it was over, and I'm like homeless, going to college, homeless. And you can't make this kind of stuff up. This is America now. This is what you guys call America. I don't even call it America. I want to vomit when people call this America. So anyway, I have this all on video, and I go to school. I'm going to school. I'm like on my cousin's couch, because my parents are nice enough that they're paying for my cousin's rent while he goes to college. Because he wanted to design video games, and I'm on his couch, and he's not, and he's up, and he's not. Even though my parents are paying for his rent, he doesn't want me on his couch. So there's family for you. My parents are paving his future, and I get screwed over by a woman, and he's upset about me being on his couch. So I'm basically homeless. Nobody, you know, not wanted anywhere, because I'm a white guy, and nobody wants to help me, and I'm guilty. And so here's the kicker. She goes to college, tells everybody I hit her. Even though she finds out I have the whole thing on video, she just blatantly lies and tells everybody in the college that I hit her anyway. which if I had hit her for real, because they basically, oh, I forgot when they questioned her, they were like, so he's telling us, or you told us that he punched you in the face, so you know, and she's like, well, yeah, and they're like, so why'd you call us? And he's like, well, he hit me, or he's like, so why'd you call us? She's like, he hit me in the face, and it was weird. They got her to contradict herself, man. This happened years ago, but somehow they were like, well, he hit you in the face. They go, well, 5 minutes ago you were saying he was a pussy, basically. So they got her to contradict herself. That came up too, but it didn't matter. She, I forgot about that part. But anyway, she went on the art campus at the art college I was going to, the Art Institute of Phoenix, and told everybody that I punched her anyway. And then people came up to me and literally told me, Michelle doesn't care that you have it all on video. She doesn't care. I was like, really? She doesn't care that I have it all on video, that she's a complete liar? And that she lied and said she was gonna, and that she said she was gonna call the cops and lie about me. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand? This is out of control narcissism. And basically, the whole campus, even though I had her on video doing this, and her own father took my side, everyone still took her side. And then the sheriff showed up on the Phoenix Art Institute campus and served me a freaking restraining order in front of everybody. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, all right, yep, thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Yep. And they left. And so now I'm like the worst, craziest piece of garbage on that campus, basically. And that's what happened to me. And this gets even better. This gets even richer. And I'll keep this story short. So I show the dean of the college the video and say, no, she's lying. And the dean is a female, and the dean doesn't care. The dean of the college, a woman, didn't care, didn't kick her out of the college, didn't give me any mercy if I was homeless, and if I didn't come through with an assignment right on time, even though I was homeless and being falsely accused, and the dean and all my teachers knew it, and I had video of it that I was being falsely accused. They didn't care. They one female teacher laughed right at me. I was like, no, she's falsely accused me. I have it all on video. This blonde-haired, blue-eyed elitist professor at the Art Institute I had just went, she like literally giggled right at me. And I was like, so if I'm homeless right now and I got to go to court and I'm facing, she's trying to have a permanent restraining order on me, basically, that could ruin my life. And the teachers went, and that teacher tried to fail me, or did fail me, I think, or tried to fail me. I can't remember. Gave me a low grade anyway. So I'm telling you, this my veteran father fought for this. This is what my Vietnam veteran father fought for. So basically, she graduated. So the female that lied, graduated and went on with her life. And I couldn't afford college, and I went to the dean and said, hey, man, I got like a killer GPA and I'm doing really well, and I'm out of money though, and I'm starving. I have no food, and once again, I don't know. I can't continue college with no food and no water, and fucking I got sick and all this stuff walking back and forth in the desert. I got dehydrated. Drinking the tap water out there is disgusting, and the tap water put me. I think the tap water in Phoenix put me in the hospital. Literally, almost killed me, and just drinking the tap water because it was all I had. So. Or something happened. I remember I was eating off fruit trees because I had no food. I had no money for food, and I couldn't find a job. So basically, I didn't have transportation to find a job either. So basically, and nobody wants to hire a college person. Nobody gives a fuck. Every now and then, my cousin did find one job. at Subway, and it got robbed while one night some dude came in and held him at fucking gunpoint. My cousin. I was like, hey, how's Subway treating you? Fucking, $7-8 an hour, 15 hours a week there. He's like, oh, I got robbed the other night. I was like, what? Yeah, that was his job. He found a job and got held at gunpoint. This is America now. So, the yuppie kids don't have to. The yuppie white kids, they don't have to have a job. They can sit home and draw all day fucking long, and their parents will do anything to make sure they're fucking successful. But anyway, so they won't get kicked out in the street like my parents are like. My parents didn't understand all this, and they're just like, get the fuck out in the street. You know what I mean? Get out there. As it's like abolition of white people, basically. So anyway, so my point being is, I had to go to the courthouse and show them and bring the video. And by the way, the police would not look at the video. I was like, I have the video. You want to watch it? They're like, no, no, no. They're like, we don't need to see it. I'm like, really? I'm like, I have video. Don't you think? I was like, don't you think you want to look at the video of her beating on me? Nope, we don't want to see it. I'm like, oh my, because they didn't want to arrest her. They didn't want to arrest the female. Once they found out they couldn't arrest me, there was no sense in them being there. So they left. But anyway, and let her go. And even though they caught her lying, the judge let her get a restraining order on me. Do you understand how this works? She's innocent till she's innocent, even when proven guilty, and I'm guilty even when proven innocent. So I had to go waste time, miss class, go down to the courthouse, couch surfing on my fucking cousin's fucking couch, trying to stay out of his hair because he doesn't want me there. And, cramping his style. I'm the 35-year-old uncle cramping his style, even though I'm the fucking, he can't even draw to save his life. And he's got his degree too. He doesn't want children. So because he's a soy boy and doesn't want children, he married a rich girl and got his degree. So that's how that works. And anyway, and he can't draw to save his life. And he's done nothing with his art degree. So I would love to have an art degree. So anyway, I do have an art degree. I got a master's in art, basically, if you want to really get down to it. Basically, I'm a master's in art. But so anyway, this gets even better. I'm not even done yet. This is art. This is my art college experience. This is my number college gate story. So I go to the courthouse with the video, and they're like, so what's this? And I'm like, I have her on video beating the shit out of me, and I'm not even fighting back because I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to hit her. And they're like, all right, well, we'll tell the judge. So they come back. They're like, okay, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. I guess give me a counter restraining order on her. So they gave me a restraining order. I've been drinking and hanging out and yelling in a bar, so my voice is shot. I don't usually go to bars. So they give me a counter. They give me a counter restraining order on her, and I use that to document my side of the story, and the judge signs it. So now we're going to the same college, but even though we have even though I get a counter restraining order on her, they don't serve her on campus. They serve her in the privacy of her home, so it's all hidden, and she looks good, and everybody believes her over me. And I was treated like complete fucking garbage at that college, and I ran out of money and went to the dean, and I was like, I can't continue. I'm gonna have to go home. And the dean said, well, he said you're a straight white male. He said there's nothing I can do for you. So I was so they put false charges on me, or they put false allegations on me, and then the dean said, who then was at that point was a male, because there was a female and a male during the 3 years that I was there, was like, nope, nothing we can do for you. So I was like, whatever, and I had to quit college again, and because they were really treating me badly. when I got sick, they made me walk there. Or when I got sick, I had to when I got sick, they made me get out of my bed with a catheter and go to the college and show them that I had a fucking catheter. Show them my catheter. I'm telling you, man, this country's freaking garbage. So, so I left that college. Yeah, they want you to sign on the line, and they had most of my parents' money. They had most of my veteran father's nest egg money, like 50 or 30. You know, they had thousands and thousands of dollars, and my parents are probably still paying. They probably still have $4,000 or $5,000 left to pay to keep me from getting bad credit anyway. And I have no degree, and all that happened because I got falsely charged. So then they really didn't believe me, right? They didn't believe me, and now my nephew is going to college, and I said, be careful of those women, right? Listen to this. I said, be careful on campus. So now my nephew's going to college for nursing, and he's telling me that they're treating him like shit in the nursing program, and he thinks it's because he's a man, a straight, a cis hetero male, and they're all feminists. And I believe him. And that came out on the radio. By the way, the head of the nursing program came out on the radio here and said that she did consider the nursing program a feminist program for women. So anyway, so I was vindicated once again. Anyway, and so then the mother of his kid, while he's going through nursing, puts false allegations on him. And my mother and my father I'm like, well, I told you. So he flunked out of college fighting for his life in court. And just, you know what I'm talking about? Just the feminists in college screwing him over. No, I'm telling you, the only white people that are making it like are privileged white people, minorities and women now. You got a few privileged white people. And then you got, you know, like Mormons and stuff, you know, you got a few privileged white people like rich, you know, like upper class people that are part of communities, you know, and then you got the minorities and women, basically the minority and the you know, the female communities that invade everything, even the Boy Scouts now. Female communities have invaded every male space, and they're going to invade Comicsgate. Females are going to come into Comicsgate too. And so anyway, there's no place for white males. So anyway, my poor nephew, I was really worried about him. He was facing felony charges. She choked him. She put her hand around. She stole his stuff, and when he went to get his stuff back, she put her hands around his neck when he was trying to get out of the door, choked him. And you know, and basically he got away from her, got in his car, left, and she called the police and said he attacked her. So we had to hire a private investigator, which is the only thing that kept my nephew from going to prison. So if you get false allegations on you, hire a private investigator right away, because the police don't care. Because the only thing the jury heard that saved him in his court case was the private eye. Didn't show it for court, but gave my nephew a recording of his girlfriend saying that she lied and that she was mad and that she changed her mind. But if he didn't have that recording, the jury probably just would have said, and he probably would have got probation or anything. But because he had that recording, he's the only guy that I know ever to get a complete innocent finding. He didn't get a guilty. I told my mother he better not get nothing. I said he better not take no plea bargains. Yeah, it's like he didn't do anything wrong. I said he better not take no plea bargains. He better not get continued without a finding. He better get nothing. He better get innocent. He did. Thank God he got innocent, but he still flunked out of college, and she did not go to jail. She admitted she lied on tape and did not go to jail. And I caught my false accuser in college lying, and she did not go to jail. No, they didn't even want to look at the tape. The judge didn't even want to look at the tape. She just signed my counter restraining order, and they sent me on my way. They didn't even want to look at. They didn't even want her. They don't want. I'm telling you right now. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, you go find out. You go out in the world and you find out. My nephew and my parents did not believe me. Now my nephew understand, and then he had to fight in court for his own kid, even though she was doing drugs and getting arrested and going to jail. He was like, how come I don't have custody of my kid? She's like, I'm telling you, man. And she was fine when he met her, by the way. Oh, he married the wrong girl. No, he met her in church, and she seemed fine when he met her, and then all that, and then she turned into a freak, on a crazy person on him. Oh, she's in the hospital right now recovering, by the way, because it's in the paper what happened to her. Yeah. Yeah, the mother of his kid, it was just in the newspaper what happened to her, by the way. If you want to look that up, she was, out late at night in a neighborhood she shouldn't have been in. The girl I'm talking about that falsely accused my nephew and almost put him in prison, the father of her own kid. She was out late at night when she shouldn't have been, getting a ride by a stranger, and she got freaked out or something, got out on the side of the road, was trying to call my nephew, and the guy turned around, came back, and hit her with the car. It's in the paper. It's in the newspaper. Hit her with the car late at night, and I had to pray for her and everything. They had to fly her to Albany, New York, because I live in a small town. They had to medevac this girl that tried to put my nephew in prison. They had to medevac her to Albany recently. That was all in the paper. And I'm just telling you, like a couple of weeks ago, this happened. I'm just telling you what goes on around here, and what went on with me when I was in college. And I don't want to hear that my rights that veterans are fighting for my rights, and that my father, the colleges and the public schools in this country has shit all over me and my father's legacy. And I don't care what anybody says. And and all I want to do is get into comic books. And so anyway, I'm just having a good time. But yeah, New York Public College offering course called Abolition of Whiteness. Let's talk about this type of stuff. Let's read some articles. Hey, Comic Skate, your kid, do you understand what I'm saying? Comic Skate, that, there's like, they're trying to, Hunter College, a public school in Manhattan, that is part of the City University of New York, is advertising a course in its fall 2017 catalog that examines how whiteness and/or white supremacy and violence is intertwined with conceptions of gender, race, sexuality, class, body, ability, nationality, and age. The abolition of whiteness, can be taken as either a women and gender studies course where they teach women that only men are bad. You want to look up some gender studies, like only men are bad, or political science, basically. Class is drawn. Yeah, let's all focus on only evil white history. Like black people aren't living in rebellion, or you know what I mean, with like with rap and with gangster rap, and the I'm gonna get mine mentality and Gumby Gold and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. I'm telling you. So I'm Professor. Professor under fire for tirade on white families, New York Post. Why these professors are warning against the promoting of work of straight white men. No, right on you know. All I want for Christmas is white genocide. Resigns after, you know what I mean? How did he make it to be a professor in the first place? Does anybody ask that question? Where's that one? It was a professor was kicked out of a bar for saying there's too many white people. There's Yeah, like some professor was like, there's too many white people in this bar, and so they kicked him out. I was like, there you go, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, my father has to read this. This is going on campuses. I remember, girl, it was like woman caught throwing away white college applications, I think, or something like Mal. What's this? Dean at MIT resigns. Oh, I hate it when this type of shit pops up. Oh, this lady fabricated her own her own educational credentials. What? All right, whatever. That's not what I'm looking for. There was a lady at a university that got caught just taking any white male applications for the college and throwing them right in the garbage. She worked in admissions. That was in there. This was stuff I found on this InfoWars covered this stuff years ago. When they weren't talking about Trump all the time, how the colleges were, and that stuff goes on, and then all of a sudden my parents are like, huh, I guess our son is correct. They hate our son. They hate our son, man. They hate, this country hates our son. So there you go. So they can't be mad at me anymore is the point. I'm showing you it's in the paper now. It wasn't, they didn't believe me at first, but should I people? This to your face. You're nothing but a troublemaker at Emory University. I've had enough of your racist talk. You'd better watch what you say and whom you say it. and to whom you say it. Let me see. I mean, there's so much. You just gotta. Professor Green, white working class boys becoming more disengaged. Well, yeah, no doubt. Well, everybody hates them. Everybody hates them. They don't have any money to defend themselves in court. I didn't have money to even find out where my kids are. Nobody cares about my kids. Nobody gives one crap about my children either, or my veteran father's grandchildren, because nobody cares about me. So I'll just keep saying my veteran father. Nobody cares about what you guys all care about. Nobody cares about my veteran father's grandchildren. I mean, fuck me, I guess. I'm just a piece of shit, but my father's a veteran, so he's awesome, right? Everybody? My father's awesome, right? He's a veteran, right? Everybody cares about veterans, right? Well, my dad's a veteran, and he wants to meet his grandchildren, so he's never met his grandchildren. I'm trying to make it happen for him, but I don't have a lot of money. My lawyer's working for free. And I went to the manosphere, all the guys that complain about women, and said, hey, I got a lady. I have a woman that's helping me for free. Can I raise some money? And I didn't get, and nobody gave one fucking dime to me for a lawyer to see for my veteran father to see his grandchildren. Not one fucking dime in this country. I'm telling you. I am telling you. So anyway, yeah, this is what goes on in this country, and it's sad. And anyway, I'm gonna go to sleep, and everybody have a good night.